Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BNR. It's me, Gene, on the late show. I'm joined by Jake. Ben is joining us. He's having some mic issue. I think it's mic issues or webcam issues, but he'll be joining us as soon as he manages to sort it out. There's already 250 of you in the house. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And yeah, Jake. Here we are, man. How's things? What's going on?
Good, man. Everything is good. I think everything's going to according to plan. So no complaints. Only
Yeah,
smiles on my face right now. Yeah, all good, man.
yeah. Look, I'll be honest. I was off yesterday. I had a wedding. Well, Mendi they call it. It's a pre sort of celebration, Jake. And then tomorrow's the wedding. Then Monday's the wedding. So I've got a few busy days. So I haven't been obviously I was on the shows yesterday, and obviously Asim did the one earlier. But I think it's only fair, Jake. We start off with the main man, Alexander Isak. Reports coming out. We've obviously, I don't know if you've seen Craig Hope's latest comments. Aye, before we go, let's bring him on. He hasn't really started. Yes, Ben.
Ben,
I can't
you're
hear
on
you.
mute.
I can't hear
There we go. Sorry about that.
you.
What's
We
happening?
made it.
Flipping,
Yeah, all right. We managed to sort it.
yeah, working IT for 20 years and I flipping can't sort my webcam out. Yeah, no, it's decided to do a load of driver updates and stop working, so I had to just mess about with it for a bit. Sorry about that, gents. Highly unprofessional. How we doing? Happy Friday.
It happened. Happened to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? Good, good. Are we all good? Are we all right?
Yeah, all good, mate, all good. Just cracking. I was just mentioning to Jake, it's been a busy few days for me. I've got weddings all over the shop. I had a pre sort of wedding celebration yesterday. Tomorrow's the wedding. Us Asians, Ben, when we have a wedding, it goes on for like 2 weeks, man. It's a pain in the ass, but you know what?
Yeah, Asim was telling me about it. It's I don't understand like how it works, the ceremonies and stuff, but they're not normal. That's for sure, are they? The
It's
full
actually not
shebang.
normal, mate. Put it that way. But
Do they
yeah, so
pull you onto the dance floor? Do they?
they tried to, but I didn't get onto the dance floor, Ben. I do spectator sports. I just sit at the back.
Ah, right. I'm not sure about that. I reckon Gene's a proper dancer when he gets going. He's a raver. Oh,
Back in
good
the
stuff.
days, man, back in the days, but them days are long gone now. In it, Jake, them days are long gone now.
Those days are gone.
Strictly
That's right.
business now, is it? Yeah.
It has to be, man. What can you do? You're 42 years old. You've got to grow out of it at some point, mate.
Good stuff.
Yeah, Ben. I was just mentioning to Jake. I'll come to you, Jake, first. I was talking about Craig Hope, Eddie Howe, sorry, press conference. I'll bring it up. We'll go quickly run through what he said. In regards to Alexander Isak, and it's quite telling what he actually mentioned. And now it seems like every other day there's something new, new meaning is coming. It's coming. It's coming. The acceptance is there. We're just getting to the point now where they just want to bring in a player or two when we can move on. But yeah, he goes Eddie Howe and Alexander Isak situation. We've had discussions, and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the groom. I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He's training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened. He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love for him to come back to the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen. Your thoughts on Eddie Howe's comments, Jake?
Yeah, I'm gonna tie in his comments in a report from Romano that you didn't bring up, but I'm gonna add it in anyways. Um, my thoughts are identical to what you mentioned when you prefaced the quote itself. You mentioned that it's just kind of a slow burn, if you will, to get the fan base to kind of accept the reality of the situation. And I'm not suggesting any kind of conspiracy theories here, but it has been a little bit of a slow burn for everybody to understand how the situation has transpired from 2 to 3 weeks ago until now. And now there's a broader acceptance that if he does leave the club, it's not like they're just ripping off the band-aid all at once, and it's just a total shock to everybody. So that's what my thoughts are on the situation itself. But I was on the show, I think it was precisely last Friday, and the situation on last Friday was the team was going to be returning from the Asia tour at the end of the weekend, and it was reported on Friday that Isak would be returning to Newcastle on Saturday. And the dynamic in the situation at that time, in my opinion, was, and I said it on stream, Newcastle's going to try at least one more time to convince this player to stay, to sign a contract extension, maybe offer him obviously better terms and giving him an out 12 months from now. I said then that I didn't think he was going to accept that idea and he was going to reiterate his stance and say that he wanted to leave. And that's what we're seeing today with the latest report from Fabrizio Romano. He said that they offered him another contract extension, and he was adamant that he didn't want to sign a contract extension and he wanted to leave. That's what I expected to happen. And I knew that Newcastle were going to at least make one last attempt to try and keep this player. So we are right now exactly where I thought we were going to be. And as I mentioned when we first started this stream, everything's in a good position. I'm happy. This entire saga transfer is going exactly how I expected it to go. And we're in a perfect position right now to capitalize on this player and bring him into our squad. So that's where I stand where we are right now.
Look, I think more quotes came out. We were also told that he doesn't suffer from an injury anymore. His thigh injury's practically sorted itself out, sort of thing, and he's fit, meaning there's no he doesn't have an injury to contend with. And he also mentioned, Eddie, how I want Alex to be playing today when he was speaking about the Premier League opener against Aston Villa, because I want Alex to be playing today. I want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let him make that up. Let me make that absolutely clear. There is no part of me that does not want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing before Aston Villa. It seems that he's not going to be in training with the team or anything like that, at least until Aston Villa game. From going by his quotes, no.
For me or for Ben?
Ben.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going back. I thought you were going back to Jake. Sorry, I was going to jump in. Yeah. No. Flipping heck. I think newsflash. I don't think he ever had an injury personally.
Yeah.
I don't think he had one at all. I think it was just all part of the early stages cover-up story, and then obviously it's moved on stage by stage, and then they've just got to a position where they can't really. They can't really say anything more than what we all really know, and it just feels like what's the term? A manager convenience now, I think, isn't it? In that it's just a situation where you do your thing over there, we'll do our thing over here. And when the two clubs come together and agree a price, and when we've got a couple of bodies in the building to save face, then we'll do what we all hope is the inevitable. And it's exciting, obviously, from our perspective, without a doubt. But at the same time, it is obviously sad the way that it's had to happen. And, he is being painted as the villain. And there's lots of people coming out and saying, it's a real shame. He's tarnished his legacy and stuff like that. But I think deep down, Newcastle haven't really kicked up that much of a fuss, because, like, one of the comments there was he hasn't been disciplined, because I think deep down they know that this has been asked for maybe up to 12 months ago. And they know that they've got just as much responsibility in this as Isak has. And I don't suppose Isak at any stage really wanted to have to go down this path, but he feels as though his hand has been forced, because if he hadn't have done this, Newcastle would have just continued down this track and just allowed him to stay without really doing anything significant about it. I suppose they maybe would have offered him a new contract, which it looks like they've done today. But the reality is, I don't think it's about the money. I really don't, because he could have gone to Saudi for 500 grand a week or something, which he doesn't want to do. It's not really about the money, it's about the fact that he's entering the prime of his career. And unfortunately, he's just at a level above Newcastle where he wants to challenge for the big pots now.
Yeah, and Jake, look, I think in terms of Isak and throwing his toys out the prime and Newcastle not really disciplining him really harshly, is simply because we were told Isak wanted out 12 months ago. He was unhappy. He's been unhappy for 12 months. Reports came out 12 months ago that from Craig Hope that he knew Isak was unhappy 12 months ago. Ornstein mentioned in March that this summer is going to be a massive summer for Alexander Isak. So the writing was on the wall for Newcastle in the sense that they've had a player unhappy. They knew about him. This is probably the main reason why they can't really discipline him, because They knew what's happened. Isak's probably gone to them and said, "You promised me this, you didn't give me it. Now I want to leave the football club and I want to go to Liverpool." And the crazy thing from my perspective is he's a player that 90% of us would have thought would never kick up a fuss to this magnitude. Yeah, he's probably gone to a level we never thought he was, number one, able, and number two, he didn't really have it in him to go to that sort of level, Jake.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that a lot. I mean, I don't know the player obviously on a personal level, but all the reports that came out when the transfer window kind of started, everyone kind of suggested that what's transpired up until now, they didn't think that this player Isak um, would kind of act in this type of behavior. So I can't suggest that I saw this coming by any means either. But at the same time, when we rewind to the very beginning of the transfer window and even before that, once they qualified for Champions League, the discussion at that point, at least on the group chats that you and I are involved in, we always said Isak's going to have to push for the move. So there's going to have to be at least a little bit of pushing from the player to make this move happen. But like you said, he's gone above and beyond, well beyond what any of us had expected. And I say that I don't want to say in a good way or a bad way, but obviously for what I hope to have transpired, if this is what is required to get the deal done, I don't have a problem with that. And I don't speak, out of hypocrisy when players like Coutinho do that to us, or Trent. I know it's a little bit different. I don't blame the players if they want to move on to other clubs. I don't have any issues with that. The same thing goes for Isak. If he wants to move from one club to my club, I'm okay with that. One thing I do want to touch on is the quote that you just brought up to Ben from Eddie Howe. It's a quote that I hadn't seen until you mentioned it to him. And the last line there for me is pretty telling. I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have the quote in front of me, but he's saying, I don't see the situation changing before Aston Villa. And that's what I've been on stream and on the group chats saying the entire time. There was never going to be a scenario in which Newcastle are going to let this player leave voluntarily in time for him to be fit, firing, and playing for another team at St. James Park when the transfer window is still open. So if you're asking me, what he's basically telling you with that quote is, by this game next week, the situation is going to be the same. And the reason why it's going to be the same, when I say the same, is he's still a Newcastle United player. He's still not training with the team. He still wants out, and the deal with Liverpool isn't done. The reason why that is because they're slow rolling this process to ensure that he doesn't face them at St. James Park the following week. I wouldn't be surprised, and this idea came to my mind earlier today when Liverpool came out last week. I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, and they said, we're basically pausing our interest in this player. We're not stepping away from our interest, but we're pausing putting the bids in until we get some encouragement from Newcastle. This idea came to my head just today. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an agreement between both clubs that said, listen, he's most likely going to leave our team. We need to get our replacements, which has been widely reported. But I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys over there at Liverpool. This deal is not going to be done in time for him to play against us. So you guys tap the brakes, go on pause, put out a statement that says you're going to delay negotiations with us because we're not doing anything until the game against us is done, or at least a close enough time frame for the game to be done where he's not going to be fit enough to play against us. And if you can agree to that, we'll agree to igniting negotiations at that point in time. And Liverpool said, fine, no problem. We'll delay the process until then. You let us know when we can come back in and negotiate, and we'll restart the negotiations then. In my opinion, that's going to happen sometime next week where the ball starts rolling again. It won't be done, but it'll start rolling a little bit.
So then, from just a quick one then, Jake. So if Newcastle were to bring in Monday, we're seeing that they're linked with a load of players right now. Can you not see them bring in? So if they were to bring in a player or two, even by Thursday next week, Isak will probably get done after that. So he's not going to be match fit and ready to play that game anyway, I don't think.
Correct, but they have to. I agree with you. I think even if the deal was done now, what's the today's day? Let me check the calendar. The 18th. Now, if it's done now, it's a little bit early. 17 days, he might be able to become fit. But even if it gets done in a week or so, it's going to be a challenge in 10 days for him to be integrated into team, match fit, and ready to play 90 minutes. But they don't want to take any chances. They just want to be 100% sure that once he's a Liverpool player, he's not playing at all at St. James Park. They might, I can't say to what extent they want it. They might not even want him to be a member of the team when we come to St. James Park, and it might not be done until the 26th. But what I can assure you is it won't be done anytime in time for him to play against them. So regardless if that's the 18th, the 19th, the 21st, the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, it's irrelevant to me which day it gets done, but it's going to get done is what I'm saying. And I've always been steadfast in saying there is no way he's playing at St. James Park against them. And that's what I'm hearing from them right now, basically, when he says the situation isn't going to change by the time Aston Villa game occurs.
So coming to you, Ben, and Ben, if this is a ploy from Newcastle, for me, if I rewind back 2 weeks, Ben, and I think Liverpool made that bid, it got rejected. I genuinely believe, though, 2 weeks ago, Jake, and question to Ben is, if they managed to get one of these two, a couple of signings through the door, do you still believe that they would have waited until that game towards the end of August to get the Liverpool will get Isak after the end of August, even though they'd agreed 3 weeks ago?
I think what Jake's saying is perfectly plausible, and I think it makes sense because obviously they wouldn't want all of the hurrah of Isak going back to St. James's Park and potentially playing and potentially scoring. You know, it would be horrendous. But at the same time, I'm looking at Eddie Howe in the press conference now, and I'm looking at the noise that comes out of Newcastle. Like he's just done a post-match press conference now.
Yeah.
And every single quote is about Isak. And it's like, it must be draining for him. And it must be draining for the club in general to just have to basically bat away these questions and answers about Isak. And I just wonder whether or not he can be bothered with all that, or they can be bothered with all that. I think the fans, day by day, more and more are resigned to the fact that he's going. So it's like, well, what are you saving now, sort of thing? You know, we all know that you're trying to get your replacements in. So I genuinely think that as soon as a serious deal is done, like Isak will literally be within a few days later, because I'm still convinced that it won't be a backwards and forwards negotiation. Like, you know, we bid 150 and they say no, we bid 120, they say no, we bid 125. I just don't see how that helps anybody. I think we'll just be dead serious and we'll just say, right, okay, here's our offer plus add-ons, take it or leave it, sort of thing. But then behind closed doors, I feel as though they've already sort of come to a rough agreement about what it might be. But I just don't see them wanting to carry this on.
And I agree with you. If I was in a Newcastle, I'd want the money so I can go back, get the replacements, at least try to bring in some sort of players over the next few weeks. If it was a couple of weeks ago, now they're rushing around, they're getting rejected left, right, and centre. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's played out the way it's played out. But if a deal gets done now, Jake, over the next few days, I still can't see Isak playing that game against Newcastle away. A massive, massive game. Newcastle's first home game of the season. It's a Monday night, 8 p.m. kickoff. Liverpool probably won't want that headache either. They'll probably leave him on the bench, or probably won't even start him. Even if they were to bring him, if he was to come on Tuesday, Wednesday next week, I still don't believe he will play that game against Newcastle because it's too close. He's only going to have a week there. Liverpool don't want all the hurrah behind it either. They probably still go with their strongest 11 at the time, who are fit and ready to go with their Ekitike, Verts, Gakpo and Salah. So I think now it's high time. I think this is a massive, massive week where Liverpool will probably, Newcastle, it seems like will be able to bring in a player or two this week. I think Liverpool may really make them move for Alexander Isak this week, Jake.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you entirely. Even if he comes in within the next handful of days, I don't see him featuring in that match. And I never saw him featuring in that match, regardless of when the deal was done. And I say regardless, obviously, assuming it was, close enough to the match. You have to look at it from Newcastle's perspective. They have money. So it's not like they're short on funds and they need the money that they're going to sell this player from us immediately in order for them to go and spend that money. They can spend the money on their own and then recoup it later on. So what is the benefit of them selling Isak to us let's just say August 1st or August 8th, as opposed to the 25th or the 26th or the 23rd, whatever the date ends up being, what's the benefit for them? There is no benefit. You have to look at the optics of the situation. Their supporters don't want to get rid of this player. The management team doesn't want to get rid of this player. The hierarchy of this team doesn't want to get rid of this player. Then you're talking about not only are they selling this player and everybody's kind of in a upset situation about losing the player, now you're talking about this player coming to your own home ground, to the team that you don't want to sell this player to. He's featuring for them, and then if he scores for them, for what? There was no benefit to begin with, and then you're just adding on all of this extra, negativity to the situation to really accomplish nothing. So to avoid all of that from transpiring, what they can just do is delay the situation, know in the back of their head that they're going to sell the player, use the funds that they're anticipating to receive for that player elsewhere, and then sell the player after they're done with their sales, which is exactly what they're doing. That was always the situation that made the most sense, which is why from the very beginning I said this was how it was going to break down. And here we are, August 8th, and it's exactly how it's looking like it's going to unfold.
Yeah, no, I think that if you look at the scheduling as well, like if you actually think, even if we were to sign Isak this week and it just all comes to fruition, we sign him this week, then he wouldn't play against Bournemouth because, as I say, he's not match fit. He's not had any integration with the team. McAllister's only been back a week and a half, and he said that he's not going to be starting him, especially not on Sunday, but then almost definitely not next week either. Maybe not, depending on the fact that obviously Gravenberg's suspended. But then I think there probably will be some sort of gentleman's agreement, maybe, that he isn't involved at Newcastle to benefit both sides, to be perfectly honest, because it wouldn't really benefit us to play Isak at St. James's, because one, they'd want to kick shit out of him, to be honest. Joe Linton will be flipping going through him like you can't shake a leg at, and it'll St. James's will be an unbelievable atmosphere anyway. It'll be a bear pit, and for them to see Isak on the opposition bench, it's just red rag to a bull, isn't it? So it doesn't benefit anybody, but then it certainly doesn't benefit them. So it's just one of those. I think that definitely is a situation. But I tell you what, they will want him on board, ready to unleash against Arsenal, which is ironically what, another week and a bit later. So I think there's a very strong possibility he signs in and around or after Bournemouth, but then he's not involved at Newcastle, but then is very much involved against Arsenal. Because if we're paying, close to 130 odd million for one of the best strikers in the world, one of our biggest games of the season is Arsenal at home. Fact. It doesn't matter that it's the third game of the season. So if we've got any chance of having our prize signing of the summer available, then we're going to want him. It's not going to be a case of, we'll just wait until deadline day just to sweeten you up. We're paying the money here. You need him off the books. It's not going to make any difference to who you sign. Get him in ready for that. So that's probably where I'm at now in terms of sort of time frames.
And a quick one, Jake. It seems like Newcastle are now making moves in the transfer window. We've seen them linked to that Samu Agam-Hoa from the Porto striker.
Well pronounced, Jane. It took me about 4 hours to pronounce that.
You know what? I actually put it up just to make sure I can read it when I bloody say it. They'll still bodged it up.
I've lost track now. There's not many of them.
I know, that's the thing. Ollie Watkins is another. Nicholas Jackson, Jake. It seems like they're linked to every single striker. They're making moves for every single striker. Even Goncalo Ramos was mentioned over the last few days. I genuinely believe, especially over the next 2 or 3 days, they will definitely get one over the line, especially Wissa, because I think Wissa, there's reports that Wissa and Jackson both missed their
the games.
Squads. Yeah, one in the team squad.
He weren't involved. Chelsea played today, I think, and he wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, he wasn't involved. So it seems like there's real movement in regards to the forward line for Newcastle. And I think these type of players will probably go to Newcastle. I think when they were going for the likes of Seshko and Ekitike, when the big boys were in for them, it's very difficult to prize players away when the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, and other teams are wanting them. What's his name? Jackson's, he's already at Chelsea. He wants to move. He probably wants to stay in England. Newcastle, the deal seems like a perfect match made in heaven for them, sort of thing. And then the Samu kid from Porto, he's supposed to be the next sort of Isak in terms of buy a good young striker who can hopefully kick on and try to reach the levels of Alexander Isak. But they're finally making moves, Jake, and like big moves.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, now is the time where it looks like they're going to be able to land. They're going to be able to land somebody. It's kind of like a game like musical chairs. All of the teams that were looking for strikers already got them, and these guys that are left are without teams. So Newcastle can kind of have their pick of the litter because nobody else is really in for a striker at this point in time across Europe because they've already signed their strikers. So it's a good news for us that they're targeting a wide range of different players. It lets us know that they're basically willing to accept whichever ones that they can get over the line at this point. And once that does happen, we'll start seeing some movement on Isak. But last week when people were getting a little bit nervous about Sesko going to United, this was well before he chose the United. People were talking about if Newcastle bottled this deal, it's going to have a direct impact on Isak. That never made any sense. You can't go to Isak and say, we lost out on Sesko, we're not going to let you leave. It doesn't work that way. Isak's future can't be tied to whether you're able to sign Sesko or not. This just doesn't make any sense. Of course, it makes sense if they're not able to find a replacement whatsoever, but you can't just say, we're going to go after this one guy, and if we get him, you can go, and if we don't get him, you can't go. Isak's not going to agree to that. It's not a realistic scenario. So that never made any sense. And now you fast forward a week later, they didn't get Sesko. And what is everybody saying? It doesn't make a difference. The Isak situation is still unchanged, which is exactly what I said was going to transpire if they lost out on Sesko, which they did. It does sound like they have some interest in Jackson. I'm not entirely sure if he's at the very, very top of their list. Just based on reading the tea leaves, I don't think he is at the very, very top of their list. Doesn't mean I don't think that he's going to be the one that they do sign, because it does sound like he does have interest in going to Newcastle. He's going to leave Chelsea, which is what everybody's reporting. That's basically a done deal. I don't know if it's going to be Newcastle or somewhere else. Sounds like he wants to go to Newcastle. Whistler, I think, is a deal that Newcastle is going to get over the line here relatively quickly, probably within the next couple of days. We'll probably get a here we go from Romano on Whistler. And then it just comes down to whether it's that Porto kid, Jackson, or somebody else. I think they'll also have interest in that striker from Wolves. That kid banged 14 goals last season for them in the first year in the Prem last year.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be too bad of a signing for them. But they're going to get one of these guys over the line. I don't know which one it is. I don't care which one it is. Just get one of them done and we can move on.
And Ben, yeah, it seems like Ben Jake mentioned, I think this is a massive week. I think once they get Visser over the line, I think Liverpool make their move. I think that will be the first sort of the domino effect, let's call it, in terms of Visser going to Newcastle, Liverpool getting Isak, and then they will go big on their second choice striker, whoever that may be. Be it Jackson, Samu, Watkins, whoever they want. I think they need one through the door ASAP, and I think they need one through the door over the next couple of days because the Premier League season kicks off on the weekend. So they're going to need at least, because they've been playing Gordon through the middle in pre-season.
Yeah, they need a lift, definitely. I think Wiss's agency was reported as being in London today to get that deal over the line. I think it's 35 million that they're looking at. So I think that one will get nailed. I think they were waiting on, is it Otera from Bournemouth as a replacement into to Brentford. So it's just a bit of a domino effect from that perspective. So I think Wissa will be done in the next 24, 48 hours. And then it'll be a case of them trying to get one of the big ones over the line. I think Jackson obviously is an option. Definitely don't think he's the first choice. I think they want a sexy signing, if that's a better word of saying it. They want a young prospective
no
player.
There for them anymore.
There isn't now yet. They're all gone. They're all at the Reds, mate. That's why. No, they've the big ones have all of the ones that they really wanted have all gone to other clubs, and that's it's just the way that it is, sort of thing. It's not ideal for them at all. But yeah, there's been loads banded around. I saw Kolo Moani getting thrown in there today, and then it got knocked on the head by one of the local journalists. So there's loads of agents chick bouncing around the internet, to be honest. That's going to be linking them with every man and his dog. But the reality is they will get one over the line. And I've said a few times already, if they really, really wants to keep Isak, and they keep on chatting this, well, we hold all the cards. He's got 3 years left. Well, don't sign anyone then, because you're basically saying, well, if we don't sign a replacement, he's staying. Well, why are you trying to sign a replacement then? You're basically don't sign a
They'll
replacement and just
they'll
let
come
it
back,
play out.
but they'll come back to you saying this is the what's that other Callum Wilson replacement.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
come
Yeah.
back with their
Was
reply is
this when
all
Ekitike was going to play up front alongside
yeah.
Isak? Yeah, and then we all woke up.
That's
It's
what it
like,
was.
they'll be happy to get one over the line at this rate, flipping heck. But
Yeah.
yeah, and as I say, I know we're having a bit of banter and stuff, and I know it's we're absolutely buzzing that we're hopefully going to nail Isak, but I say it with reality that we have been there. We've been the team, and I've said it a million times. With all due respect, we're a much bigger club than Newcastle, and yet in years gone by, we've had to eat humble pie. We've had to be the ones who have sold Sterling to Man City, sold Torres to Chelsea. We've had to swallow it and go and get bargain basement players sometimes, because you've got to work within the market. Sometimes you've got to take one step back to take two steps forward, and that's the reality of that Newcastle situation. I think their PIF team was basically thinking they could just come in, spend as much as they want, and then obviously PSR has clamped down on everything, and now they've got to do it in stages where they've got to build their infrastructure, build their training ground and the commercial revenues, etc. And they just don't seem to really want to do that. They just want to be able to basically just jump the gun and spend as much as they want. And I understand that, because it's exactly what Man City did, but that's not the world that we're living in now. And they've got to just they've just got to take their place in the food chain at the moment.
And look, Jake, it takes time. We can't. No team back then. There was a couple of teams. Chelsea had a load of money. United probably had a load of money, and that's it. Arsenal weren't spending crazy. Liverpool weren't spending crazy. You've got teams now in the Premier League that have got a lot of money that will go and
Absolutely.
spend. If they don't, even if it wasn't for PSR, Villa would be spending absolute shitloads. There are teams in the Premier League now that will go toe to toe, that have got history, that have won trophies, that can go and spend stupid amounts of money. Whereas back in the days of City's days, there wasn't many teams who could go and throw money like they did. And times have changed. It is a gradual process. It does take time, but and to be fair, I think Newcastle slightly overachieved in their first couple of years, because they got Champions League in their first sort of year when nobody was really expecting them to get it. And I thought that was an overachievement from Newcastle's perspective. And they've got 2 Champions League in 3 years. You've won a trophy in this time. What more are you actually wanting? You're actually done pretty well from being a team that was always getting relegated every 2 3 years. I think they've been relegated 3 times over the last 15 to 20 years.
Absolutely, yeah. And they made the
So
big jump, didn't they?
exactly. So now you're up there. You're fighting. You missed out on one season. You've got back in the Champions League. You're actually nearly getting there. This is normal procedure. You might have to lose a player or two, but then you're gonna have to go again to try and compete at the highest level. It just hurts them, because I think they've never really lost a massive footballer like
That's the key.
Thingy. I think the last
That's
one
the
they
key.
lost was Andy Carroll, and that wasn't a he wasn't a worldie or anybody. Isak is a world class player, and I think that's why it's hurting these guys, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's easy to say from our perspective. If we were in their shoes, it would probably be a little bit more bitter. Not to suggest that your opinion is wrong. It's just hard to swallow that when you've seen the likes of Chelsea do it the way that they did it. You see the likes of City do it the way that they did it, and then all of a sudden now, when Newcastle has the money, they can't do it that way. One thing that their fans and their supporters do forget, though, is they came up with the vote. I don't know exactly when it was, but sometime within the last year. And I think 19 out of the 20 clubs agreed to proceed with the PSR regulations. So it's not as if it's just one club or a handful of clubs that are putting these rules in place. The entire league is voting upon it, and damn near every single team approved to proceed with the same regulations moving forward. If I'm not mistaken, Newcastle was probably even one of them that agreed
I was just
to.
about to say, Jake, you're spot on. I think they were one of them, but ironically, I think they obviously signed off on it prior to PIF coming on board. So, it just shows your agendas change, don't they?
Yeah, so it's just kind of the nature of the situation, and the reality is, if we were Newcastle supporters, and we were losing our best player Isak, it would be a tough pill to swallow. It's just the way
Yeah.
that it is. So it's understandable from both perspectives to to suggest that it's right that the way that the rules and regulations are set up right now for teams to spend wisely so they don't put themselves in financial troubles in the future, to suggest that that's a smart tactic for the entire league. And at the same time, it's fair to say, if you get kind of bit by the rules, that it's a tough pill to swallow. And it's just the nature of the situation. What I can say is, and it might be a little bit selfish on my part, I'm happy to be on the right side of this one. Assuming that
Absolutely.
this deal does get done, I'm thrilled to be on the right side of this one. Is all that I can say. I've been talking about Isak for the better part of 8 or 9 months now, and once this deal goes through, I can promise you, I will be celebrating very, very happily.
I
You
can
do have to
imagine.
pinch yourself, don't you? You do have to pinch yourself. I know, obviously, it's not over the line yet, and we don't want to be the absolute biggest sort of like bringers of doom if it doesn't go through. But if you just take a step back and just think, Salah, Isak, and Vert in the same team is just a little bit nuts, isn't it? And, and if you'd have said to majority of Liverpool fans at the beginning of the summer, we're going to sign £100 million player this summer, they would all just said, you're talking nonsense. But if you'd have said we're going to sign two £100 million players at the beginning of this summer, people would have escorted us to the funny farm sort of thing. It's like, honestly, it blows your mind when you just take a step back and think to yourself, oh my
Jake,
word, we have signed two worldies this summer.
it's going to be 300 million plus on 3 players. Ekatike, Isak, and
300 on three, yeah,
300
combined, yeah.
combined in 3 players. That
Yeah,
is nuts.
yeah.
It's crazy because we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, Ekatike would be like a star player signing in most other seasons, wouldn't he? Like huge prospect, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like, I don't know, like Jibril Cisse sort of signing from ages gone by, and he's like in the background of the thoughts, really, isn't he? To be honest, it's mad. It's absolutely mad.
It's crazy, man.
Just puts a smile on your face, doesn't it?
Look, because we've deserved it, man. My fucking flipping out. We've sat through transfer windows, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for Arthur Melo to come on the final day of the season. We've twiddled our thumb with bloody, getting stung with Caicedo and all, the Lavia situation, and then last season Zubimendi situation, and then, we've been through the wars, man. We've been through hell
I
and back,
know.
and
I was
finally,
saying to Asim the other day, I can imagine some B&R shows in seasons gone by where the pain must have been and the anger must have been like graft, real hard work to be able to see
you
it
look at
through.
other teams. You look at the teams, they're signing players. Look, I know it's not all about signing players. I get that. But when you're Liverpool Football Club, you're one of the biggest footballing institutions in the world, and you don't sign anyone when you can see clear issues with the team, and you see other teams just go and spend whatever they want on it. Hurt, man. I've been hurt me. We do. People will tell you we did bloody 1 a.m. streams on Caicedo to be stung in the arse the day after. We went through all of that, so it's about time we got to celebrate a little bit and enjoy the moment. And
I'm gonna
honestly,
go
I'm
back and find that show. I bet that was a
buzzing out, man.
wild one.
I don't want you to see it. We were buzzing out of our heads that day. We did a show at 10. We went again at 1 o'clock because we thought Caicedo's coming. It was mental, but
I remember being sat at the end of my bed in the darkness. My missus was asleep, and I was listening to I think it was a space on Twitter, and they were going, the bid's gone in, we've gone to 110, and I was like, woo, in the middle of the night, and my missus went absolutely nuts at me because she woke me up, and then I fell asleep, and then about a few hours later, it was like, oh no, he's going to Chelsea now, and I was gutted. But that's the life that is that's how it works, isn't it? It's mad.
100%. Jake, let's move on. We'll move on from the Isak stuff. We've done 39 bloody minutes on all this Isak stuff. Let's move on to the game on Sunday. First competitive game. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's a day out to Wembley. It's a decent game, a decent team that hasn't signed anyone of note, but hasn't sold anyone as yet. A team that had played well against us back in the last season, final game of the season. I thought they had a really good season, won their first trophy. Glasner's got them playing good football, and it'll be a good test for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good test. They'll be up for it. We'll be up for it. It is a glorified friendly for sure. From my personal perspective, the way that this kind of preseason has gone, assuming obviously Isak comes in the door eventually, we know we're going to be firing in attack. This team is going to score goals. So starting from Sunday and moving forward, I'm really just going to have my eyes on how the team is setting up in possession and out of possession, and seeing how we defend, because ultimately that's going to decide really how strong this team is. Because if we can defend brilliantly, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat this team. But if we're leaking goals, and I know it's only preseason, I know we haven't had our best 11, for very many minutes, if any minutes during these preseason matches, and who knows what kind of things we're just kind of, I guess, working on during these preseason matches. But if we can defend, we're going to be a very, very difficult team to beat. And if we can't defend, which I don't think is going to be the case, but if we can't defend or we're struggling defending, that could be kind of where our breaking point is this season. So that's what I'm going to have my eyes on this Sunday and moving forward.
Jake, I completely agree. I can't wait to see how this team's gonna set up in a competitive game. I think Ekatike, Salah, Verts, you see all these names and you think, boy, this team looks special, and this is without Isak. And then you got obviously I don't think McAllister will start, but he'll definitely get some minutes. Soboslai was in unbelievable form. Graf's been decent. The fullbacks look good. I just want to see now a competitive game, Ben, where we see fluid football from this Liverpool side, because we know it's coming. We just need to see it.
Yeah, no, really excited, mate. Yeah, really excited. I managed to get a ticket, so I'm going down with me with me dad and a couple of friends. So yeah, should be really good. You're going yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, the plan is to go right now, but Ben, I'll be honest, like I mentioned, I've got a wedding tomorrow. I finish weddings gonna probably finish at 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm just supposed to be taking my two boys. Probably have to leave 6 o'clock in the morning, go to the game, get back at stupid o'clock, and then again the Monday is the wedding. So, and the kids want to go. So
Oh,
yeah,
flipping
I think I'm
let's
gonna
go.
go. I was thinking about it, because then I know after that I'm not going to be able to get to many games because of the watch-alongs. So and now I know you're going, we'll definitely meet up.
Yeah, no, that'd be great, mate. Yeah. Well, what's called? I'm really looking forward to it. As Jake said, it is a glorified friendly. But so there's nothing really riding on it. So there'll be no sort of stress and no sort of like, if it was like a serious game, you'd be flipping up all night stressing about it, worrying and thinking, oh no, need to get this result. But so it's quite relaxed. It's a nice chance to be able to come together with the fans again. I think there'll be a little bit of emotion involved in it, because it'll be the first serious game since obviously the tragic death of Diogo. So I think there'll be a couple of tributes paid to him as well, and rightly so. And the Palace fans, as from they're really good group of fans. They always sing the right songs. Really good supporter base. So I think that they'll be dead respectful as well. And at the same time, they'll be mega happy, they'll be chuffed a bit, and they'll be desperate to win it. And I think Palace is a great test, really great test. We've got your favourite player, Adam Wharton, in midfield. I think he'll be a real good match-up against our lads. We've got Mateta up front, who's a real handful for Van Dijk and Canate. Got Gueye at the back there, who, could be putting himself in the shop window for us. So there's loads of little mini sort of stories about the game. And I think Palace, they are the stereotypical mean average Premier League team, in the fact that, they're never going to be someone who you think should be beating us. But at the same time, they are exactly the sort of team that causes us real problems. Great in transition, low block, really strong, brilliant at set pieces. So the sort of team that really can test you, and it'll give us a good idea as to where we're at in terms of our shape going into the Bournemouth game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just 100% convinced that Florian Wirtz will light up the pitch and show everybody what he's all about.
And coming to you, Jay, I really want to win it. I really want to win the Charity Shield, because I want Florian Wirtz, Ekatike, and these new players that have come in this season. I want them to experience a Wembley win. I know it's a friendly, I get all that, but the way we do it, nobody does it. So I just want them to be able to see a sea of red going into Wembley, winning something at Wembley with Liverpool. That will be, hopefully a springbok for them to say, okay, you know what? This is what we want. Imagine now winning, how it's going to feel winning a title. They'll have seen the scenes over the summer. but doing something in front of their own fans, there'll be 40,000 Liverpool fans there minimum. And it'll be a good start to their careers. I know there's a curse about whether wins a Charity Shield, doesn't win a title. I don't buy all of that. I don't care about the curse. It doesn't mean anything to me. No, there's no curse. Where Liverpool will go try and win it, and we'll try and go and win the title. I want the players to experience a day out in Wembley where we win it. Ben,
when's the last time somebody won the Community Shield and the title?
When's the last time they did both? I can't remember.
The chat will tell us. The knowledgeable chat will box it off.
Everybody's saying it's cursed, right? We are going
to bollocks.
Save this tweet. Well, save this video. We're going to win the Charity Shield and we're going to win the league. Come back.
Yes, listen to yourselves. Have a day off.
18, 19,
yeah. There you go, man. It can't be that long.
Yeah, it's not that long.
2018.
A load of nonsense. Cares. What a load of bollocks.
Not too bad. To touch on your point, yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be good for these new players that are coming in to really see how special this club is. I agree with you. You can watch all the videos. You can kind of see it from afar, but you don't really get to experience it and see the reality of the situation and how special this club really is until you're in there experiencing for yourself. So I would agree with that point. It's important for those players to experience that, but at the same time, while it is a glorified friendly, you don't want to go into the season on a losing note. It's not a matter about whether the game is important or not. You want to be fit and firing, and you want to be in good form going into the season. We know how difficult this league is to win, even though we did win it relatively easily last year. But in general, it's a difficult league to win. And you don't have games that you can kind of waste to get into form. So we want to be fit and firing going into match week 1. And then we have Arsenal, as he mentioned. St. James Park is going to be difficult in itself, match week 2, but Arsenal at home, match week 3. So we don't have a lot of time here to get into form. We need to be firing right away. And if we're in form on Sunday and we win that match, it's just going to be able to give us a little bit of a snowball effect to start the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's important that you build some sort of momentum going into the season, Jake. And Ben, and I'll be straight. I'm really looking forward to this season. And going back to pre-season, question to both of you. I was obviously thinking in terms of this pre-season, who's actually impressed me. Obviously, we know Rio's impressed us. That's one name that we can all say. Has anybody really else, a couple of players that really impressed you over pre-season, Jay? Both here. And who hasn't impressed you? I know it's pre-season, but who hasn't impressed you as much? You thought, you know what? I was expecting a bit more from him.
The one that jumps out for me is Szoboszlai. I think he's really sort of like put a marker down. I think I've said it already, there's been a lot of chat that Wirtz comes in and the person who automatically loses his position is Szoboszlai because McAllister's, first on the team sheet and Gravenberch is Gravenberch, and he had a phenomenal season last year. So it was just like Dom's the odd man out. But I think he's been probably our best performer in pre-season. And I think, ironically, if you're picking your best 11 with everyone fit, maybe he doesn't get in it because of Florian Wirtz. But I actually think you've got to find a place for him because his dynamism and his legs in midfield are just huge. And I think he actually suits that deeper 8 role, to be honest, because he played a lot in a 10 position last season. And I think even though he's got a lot of technical ability, he can pick a pass and stuff, his decision-making in tight spaces wasn't really it was questionable in really difficult, really tight games. Whereas obviously Wirtz, it's just completely natural to him. And Dominic just be giving him that little bit more space to spray the ball around and to make those recovery runs. I think it shoots him down to the ground. So I'm convinced he'll start on Sunday alongside Gravenberch for me. I think he's been outstanding.
So just to kind of elaborate on this point, you're saying Sobo's in your 11 basically when everybody's fit. So who are you taking out? You're taking McAllister out of your 11, or who's
that's the point. Ironically, if everyone is fit and playing at their best, then he probably doesn't get in the starting 11. But I almost feel like there'll always be a place for him because there's always somebody off form. There's always someone got a knock or something, and he seems to be ever reliant and ever available. And as I say, his form, ironically, this preseason is, to me, it says, well, if you think I'm losing my place in this team, then you've got another thing coming, and he's going to show everybody. So it's a very difficult question. Who does he play ahead of? Because naturally the others are, better in their own position. But I almost feel as though if it was me personally, I'd start. If it was Champions League final tomorrow, I'd start Florian on the left, and then Szoboszlai be in midfield. But that's just me.
I think you made a good point. He's such a versatile player, and he can play in so many different positions that somebody's going to be, having a knock during this game week. Somebody's going to miss another match, another week. So you can play him at right back. You can play him at left center mid. You can play him at right center mid. You can play him on left wing. He's going to find minutes. There's no question about that.
No question, yeah. What would your starting 11 be on Sunday, Gene?
Starting 11 on Sunday, me personally, I would go with, it looks, obviously Austin's mentioned Mama will probably start, and I think he will. Ali's just come back. So Mamardashvili, Kirkes, Kanate, Van Dijk, Frimpong, Gravenberg, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike, Salah.
That's my 11, 100%.
That makes sense, yeah. You don't think he'd throw Rio in from the start?
No, not give him 30 minutes.
Just kidding. Right now.
Take him out of the team.
You're funny, but just kidding. Yeah, but that's my 11 as well, to be honest.
Imagine he does. Imagine he goes with it. Oh, yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah. Imagine he actually thinks, you know what? Okay, let's go for it. It'd just be mental just to actually see it, yeah. But I can't see it. He
won't, because Gakpo obviously is a senior player, and obviously he's never really used Gakpo as anything other than a left winger, has he? Yeah. So it's obvious that Gakpo will start on the left. But I think there's quite a few that won't do 90. So therefore, you're going to have, fresh legs without a shadow of a doubt. And I didn't realise this until I've read it before. I didn't realise that because it's classed as a friendly, I think you can make more than 5 subs. I think you can make up to like 9 subs sort of thing. So I expect us to see wholesale changes like in the second half of the game.
I don't think wholesale changes, Ben. I think after some players will get 60, but I think some players will get 75. Because
75,
I think they're 75 because they need to get match fit for the game against Bournemouth. So you can't be all of them playing 60. The majority of these players, we are looking at some will get, a couple will get 60. I think that'll be like a tactical thing. But I think for fitness wise, you'll see hopefully players getting 75 minutes to 80 minutes, and some will play 90.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoever deemed fit will play 90, whoever or not, they won't. They'll probably play 75. But I'm intrigued to see what the is it? Oh, somebody goes, it's only 6 subs. I don't know. Maybe then.
Oh, is it only 6? Oh, I read that it was more than that.
I did as well.
Okay.
Oh, it's considered competitive match, not friendly. Okay, fair play then. But a quick one.
It's okay.
Quick one. And I know this is obviously not regarding the game. I said the other day, Jake, that, and I'm gonna go back to that player, Szoboszlai. How do you leave this guy out? You can't. I'm telling you right now, you can't leave him out. He has to start.
When we say yes, sir,
you know the tacticals. You know I just think it's impossible to leave Dominic Szoboszlai out of this Liverpool team. Because what he gives you in that 8 in terms of leg, I'm McAllister's biggest fan, and he's never leaving the team.
So who's coming out?
I don't know.
That's the question, then, isn't it?
That's what I'm asking you. I just cannot see a world right now without Dominic Szoboszlai starting for Liverpool Football Club.
He's not in my 11. I don't think he starts. And I'm not talking Sunday.
When everyone's fit and available.
Everyone's fit and available. I don't think he starts. The only place, and I don't think this is going to be what's happening, but the only place where I could see it happening, like routinely, maybe is right back. But I don't think that's the decision he's going to go with. He's not going to start in Gravenberch's role. I don't see him starting in McAllister's role, and I think it's even less likely he starts in Gakpo's role. So,
I think he is actually third choice option at right back, because I think there is a genuine concern now about Bradley's fitness. You know, he's had a few injuries. He's obviously got growing pains and stuff, but there is a problem there. There's no doubt about it. And if when Salah goes to the African nations, sorry, Jake, go on.
I was gonna say, if I had to pick, I would start him at right back. If I had to get him into the team, you told me you have to find a place for him to play. He's starting, no question. Where are you putting him? I say, okay, if he has to start, I'm putting him at right back, because I'm not taking McAllister out. And even though Sobo's a better player than Gakpo, I'm not taking Gakpo off of left wing and putting Sobo there. I'd rather have Gakpo and Sobo in the team, even if I have to put Sobo at right back. So it's not the ideal.
Even in like a tough Champions League away game, so like away to PSG, you'd feel comfortable playing Szoboszlai at right back.
I'd be more comfortable in that scenario and more likely to do it in that scenario than I would be against a low block team where I don't need his legs.
Yeah.
An easier game.
Although,
like Bournemouth, I don't need Sobo in the team. When I say I really rate Bradley without a doubt, but I still think there's question marks about his one-on-one defending. So I actually don't think we're losing that much by Szoboszlai being at right back, to be perfectly honest. I know it's, as I say, it's not a long-term plan, and maybe we're not giving Frimpong enough credit, but I do think he is to be considered an option, and especially when Mo goes to the African nations, and it looks like Frimpong's going to be the option on the right wing. So therefore, you're definitely going to have Szoboszlai as an option there at right back. I know you got Joe Gomez to come back, but I think he's categorised as a centre half this season. So I think they're definitely looking at Szoboszlai being able to do games, and it might be an in-game thing where he goes there for half an hour towards the end of the game or during the game, just to be able to have so many of the best players on the pitch at the same time. Because we've seen already, haven't we, that in pre-season, they've used Bradley and Frimpong in that top of the box role that Hakimi plays for PSG, where he gets right involved in the scenario. And if Szoboszlai is in that position, he's right in the mix there as well, exactly where you want him, isn't he? So it's a really interesting suggestion, that, but I think that's a possibility.
In terms of the right back for me, from what I've seen of pre-season, Frimpong is our right back, without a shadow of a doubt. Frimpong is our right back. I loved Bradley. I thought, you know what, I really wanted him to stay fit, make that position his. If I'm honest, I think what I've seen of pre-season, he hasn't really shown me enough. I know it's pre-season. I know he's coming back from an injury, so it's a good job that we have another right back. It'll give him time to bed in. We don't need to rush him in. Frimpong starts for me every day, because what I've seen of Frimpong so far, wow, man, I've been really, really impressed with him. He is mega quick. And when he was up against Nico Williams, that was a test, because that was the game I wanted to see and say, okay, I know it's a friendly, but this is Nico Williams. Nico Williams didn't do nothing. He might, and he was just a friendly. He didn't go at him. I felt as though even for pace, Williams felt as though Frimpong was quick enough to keep up with him. Hence why he always, passed the ball. And I believe Frimpong's defending, from what I've seen over this is pre-season, what I've seen is it's a lot better than what I thought it was 2 months ago. When we signed him, because when we signed him, I was suspect from some of the clips that I saw. I thought, you know what, he is a bit suspect defensively. He's not the same, but the guys, he actually put in a massive shift. And him coming to Liverpool Football Club, I think, number one, he will improve himself, because he knows he's come to Liverpool. He's gonna try his best. He's gonna defend, as much as he can, try his hardest, and I think we're gonna see a massive increase, and in terms of his defensive attributes. You're going to see him a major improvement in his defensive attributes. And if he can get that right, I'm not saying become bloody Cafu. I'm saying just become a decent defender. He is going to be some right back, because of what he offers us going forward is electrifying pace. And there's not many right backs in the world that are as good as him.
The player that springs to mind is Kyle Walker for Man City. He's never been a great defender, but he's such unbelievable recovery pace that it doesn't really matter, because he's able to bomb on, obviously, and get involved. But then he's just that perfect safety net in transition, where so you don't get caught on the break, he's there to sweep up and cover all the time. And you can see that that's exactly what Frimpong's going to offer, even when he gets caught out of position, like 10-15 yards out of the play, he can get back and cover. And, you know, that's what Trent's problem was. You know, Trent, obviously, for all of his unbelievable quality going forward, when he was caught out of position, he didn't have that electric pace to be able to get back in. And Frimpong absolutely looks like he has that. So I think he'll be a huge attribute without a doubt.
What have you made of Frimpong, Jake? From what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the first thing that comes to mind is his pace, like you said, and Ben brought up a good point. When you're isolated on the wing, whether it's the left wing or the right wing, you got to have a certain level of athleticism to keep up with these wingers, because these wingers across Europe, they're pacey, they're athletic, and to beat a man one-on-one, that's what their specialty is. So the fact that he has elite athleticism, even though if he isn't the best, you know, one-on-one defender in a dual scenario, he's going to be able to recover. And that's all you can really ask for in that type of situation. If you don't need to double up and give help like we had to in the past, it just makes defending the rest of the pitch so much easier. So his athleticism is a huge key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I'm actually really looking forward. He's another one I'm really looking forward to. I think obviously Eze will start. You know, a different type of gives you a different type of problem. It's not just about pace. He likes to come inside. He likes to get involved with play. So I'm looking forward how he deals with Eze and how that evolves. But guys,
That'd be a good test, that Eze. Definitely, yeah.
this is what I'm really looking forward to. That side of it, especially if defensively, I'm looking forward to. I think, look, I'm confident we'll win. Score predictions. Let's go with score. And chat, get involved. What are your score predictions? And give me your scorers as well.
When no one's asked you any questions on the show, what is your prediction?
My prediction is 2-1 Liverpool.
There's no way the game is going to finish 2-1. I'll tell you right now, there's going to be goals in this game. I'm going to say there's at least 4 or 5 goals in this game. I'm going to say, I think we banged 4 goals on Sunday. I'm going to say it's 4-1, 4-2.
4-1.
4-1, 4-2.
Okay. Take it to the next level. So scorers and how it plays out. Gene, you go first. Scorers. So you saying 2-1?
Me, Mohamed Salah.
So we go 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Salah first.
Mateta 1-1.
Equalise. Winner.
And Florian Wirtz winner.
The dream is out.
I live in the clouds me at times. I'll tell you straight. I like to be up there when I'm watching a game.
I'll have that scarf there, and we'll be going like that if Florian gets the winner. Absolutely. What do you reckon, Jake?
I don't know about the order of the goal scorers, but I'll say for Liverpool's 4, I'll say Gakpo scores at least 1. So let's go 1 Gakpo. Let's go 1 Salah. This is 2. I'll say Rio scores. Probably not the 3rd one. I'll say he probably scores the 4th one. So that's 3. 4th goal. Good question. I'll say Mohamed Salah scores twice. 2 for Salah.
TK, man. Give him a goal, one of you lot.
I was just about to say. So I'm going 3-1. I think Ekitike will score first. Then Palace will equalise. And then second half, Salah will score. And then Rio will finish it.
3-1 Liverpool. Fair play. A
That'll
lot of confidence going into this game. Everybody's saying a lot of 3-1s. And yeah, 2-1, 3-1. I think that makes sense. 4-1 Hassan, 4-3. Bloody hell, James.
4-3. That'll be a game.
I'd love to be there if we won 4-3.
There's never many goals at Wembley, really, is there? To be honest, it's always tight, isn't it? It's always tight. Very rarely is there like a big scoreline. But I don't know, maybe because it's a bit more relaxed and it is a friendly, then it will be a bit more open. So I just want a good game, don't you? That's the main thing. Don't want a 0-0 and penalties and nothing like that. That'd be rubbish.
I know, right, guys? D super chat thing, we nearly missed it, but thank God it's come at a time where it was pretty right. If we win Charity Shield, will that vex Isak more? Misses a trophy. Not really. Obviously, look, everybody wants to win, but they don't. He hasn't joined Liverpool to win a Charity Shield. I can guarantee you.
I was just about to say. Thanks for the super chat, mate. I can categorically tell you that Alexander Isak is not coming to win the Community Shield. He is coming to win the big pots.
Yeah, he's come for the big boy. He's come for the big boy trophies. But yeah, thank you very much for that, G. How many likes are we on, guys? We're on 256 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get up to 300 before we leave the stream. Smash them likes. Load of content coming your way. There's still nearly 600 of you in here. So those of you who haven't liked, smash that like button. Those of you who haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 20k. Loads of content coming your way. Our first watch along will be from the studio next Friday. So this time next week, guys, we will hopefully be celebrating the first win of the season against Bournemouth. But guys, should we do a quick 5-minute questions before we go?
Yeah, go for it.
Guys, if you guys have any questions, fire away. Just it can be about anything. It can literally be about anything. Compare this player with that player. You name it, we'll try and get some in there.
Even non-football, if you really want.
Yeah, we said non-football. I'm not too fussy. It can be anything. People are asking me, do you want bloody samosas, onion bhajis? I'm not bothered. Whatever you want. Right, will we sign Gay? Chelsea are involved now, guys. Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
I'd say yes also.
I say yes. Super chat. Will we get Leone and Gay?
No.
No.
Yes.
One or the other. One or the other. You think we'll get both?
I'm going with both.
He's Mr. Optimist, this fella.
Asim or Gene, I think we all know the answer to that. Me.
Obviously, Asim.
Obviously, Asim. You need to go there. Alisson or Clemo? Look, I'm 42. I didn't really see him. Clemens. Ben, I don't know how old you are.
I'm 44 and I didn't see him either. But
okay.
Even if I did, I would still be picking the holy goalie. I think he's the greatest.
He's the greatest, right? I'm going with for my eyes, it's him. So let's go with that. Jake, you're going with the holy goalie as well.
Holy goalie.
Wow, Jake, this is a good one.
You know, this is really. I asked this question in the group chat well before we were linked to Wirtz, whatever you pronounce his name. I'm talking like January-ish of this year, and a lot of people said Florian Wirtz. I said Isak. I stand by it, Isak. I'm not saying he's a better player, but for what we needed in January, it was always Isak for me. So I'm going to stand by that. But this is such a good question.
That's a key point. That though, I agree. I think Florian is the more exciting and the more potential. I think he's a Ballon d'Or potential anywhere. Maybe Isak is as well, but I think Florian is more. But for this team, we need a centre forward more than we need a 10. But yeah, the joys of being having both is great.
You got
Florian Wirtz.
Yes, really? Lads. Yes, lads.
I always mention this. You know, there's a
Tommy there, generational. That's spot on.
Like when you think of a 10, a proper mystical touch when there's a magician on that field, and I see that with Florian Wirtz. And honestly, Isak is gonna bang, yeah, and I get he's probably, but this guy is gonna give us the joy. You can just tell he's gonna give us the joy, and he's gonna get us off our seats. And I just can't wait to see him play. 2 times he's won, German Player of the Year, won a title for Leverkusen. So he's a winner. He knows what it means to win, and I can't wait to see this guy, light up Anfield, man. He's a special footballer, and I'm so glad that we've got both. But wow, man, imagine Wirtz 10, Isak 9, Salah on the other side. When we do this, that means.
And then Bradley Barcola on the left. Like drop.
No, I can't see that happening, boys. I can't.
No, me neither, mate. We think we really would lose the plot if that happens. Bloody hell.
Wirtz will bang. Wirtz. Wait, did we have one more?
Have you seen that comment there about Wirtz sold more shirts? Did you read that?
It was mental.
$4.6 million worth of shirts in the first day or something like that, and you just think to yourself, if you aim high, then that's what it's all about, isn't it? He'll probably be paid for half his transfer fee in 12 months.
The crazy thing was that when I went to the club shop, Ben, and I went with the kids because I thought, let's get their stuff out of the way. I don't like going on match day, and they want to go there and buy a few things, so I took them. And I was just trying I said, look, I went online that day and I couldn't get on. She goes, we were making, I shouldn't necessarily say this, they might come out with it, but they were making £1,000 a second.
Really?
£1,000 a second. He goes, that's why.
From online sales?
online saying it was mental. She goes, that's why I went down. Bloody him doing
I went and got our little man the home shirt, and I said, "Have you got Vert 7 there?" And she was like, "No, they've all gone already. All we had is Salah and Van Dijk left." But and I was there like an hour after it opened, so just shows you, doesn't it? They're not soft, are they?
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna go with this Rio or Dauman because they've asked. I really like that Dauman kid.
Oh, the Max Dauman from Arsenal. Yeah, he looks exciting, doesn't he? Yeah, but he ain't no Rio Ingamoa though.
Exactly, Ben. You tell him, mate. Oh, this is a good one.
Yildiz. You love Yildiz, don't you? You buzz off him.
I do buzz off him. For me, it's Yildiz.
I've never seen him play, to be honest. I can't pretend that I've seen him play. I haven't really seen Fofana either, to be honest, so I'm not very clued up for this one.
Yildiz. Right. How many points? This is a good one.
That's a good question. I was listening to a show today, actually, that was talking about that. I'd take 7, if I'm being honest. I would take 7. I think the first 3 games are really tough. I think Bournemouth, funnily enough, they've just sold Zabarini, is it, the other centre-back today? So they've been butchered for their 2 centre-halves and the left-back. So yeah, they've really struggled in the close season. So I think we might be getting Bournemouth at the right time. But Newcastle away and Arsenal at home, first games after that, I think I'd take 7.
Ben? Sorry, Jake?
9. I don't think we dropped points in any of those games.
Really? I tell you what, if we go and win at St. James's, that's a statement, that, especially with what's going on. But let's hope so, eh?
9.
What do you reckon, Jim?
9.
9, yeah.
Sorry, inverse, mate. Who was the Golden Boot?
I'm going to say Haaland, purely because Salah and Isak will share the goals.
Yeah. It's Haaland. You don't need a reason. Haaland is Haaland.
No. I'm just thinking because all of their goals will go through him, whereas we'll hopefully have Isak and share them with Salah.
I'm going Isak. I think Isak.
Do you reckon? Yeah. He won't be out. He won't have penalties, will he? Though that's the thing. Salah will still be on penalties, and that's a big factor.
It's hard to go against Salah. Of course, it's very difficult to pick against Salah, and that's the question I have in my head is Salah or Isak. But I think the whole squad is going to be focused on getting the ball to Isak. I think you're going to see a minimum of 20 assists from Salah this season.
It is an interesting.
The Golden Boot.
It's what? Sorry.
Mohamed Salah's getting the Golden Boot.
See, it is an interesting dynamic. When was the last team that? Can you remember the last side that had 2, like, out and out, like 20+ goal scorers?
Mane and Salah both. And Aubameyang shared the Golden Boot once.
Yeah, when they both got 20, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was 9. Now was it 19 or 20? I can't remember the exact number what it was, but it might have been 20. I think they might have been the last.
That was an outrageous season. Was that the when we got the 97-point season? That was that 18-19 or no 17-18? I think it was. Outrageous, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that works. That
we're pushing 100 goals this season. I don't know if we're going to break 100 or not, but we're going to push towards 100 goals.
I agree, mate. I agree. I think that's definitely the thing. Quite a lot of people in the chat mentioning that Rodri's got another injury there. I think that's really significant as well. You know, obviously you don't wish injury on any player, to be honest, but I think it's a huge injury that he's had. He's done another one in the Club World Cup, and then now Pep said that he's not going to be fit until after the first international break. So all of a sudden,
matches though, the first international break I think is after the third game week. So
yeah. But I mean, it's like he's how many players though, when you haven't had a full preseason or you're playing catch up, it takes a while to get going. So I do think that could be significant for them.
I think that's a significant one as well.
He was never going to be 100% this season. Coming back from an ACL, even when you're fit to actually play, to get back into form, usually takes roughly the same amount of time that you miss. So if you miss 8 months, it takes you 8 months playing to get back into form.
Yeah. Van Dijk was similar, wasn't he? He wasn't his very best, wasn't he, the season after the injury?
No, to be fair, I thought Van Dijk, if I'm honest with you, I thought Van Dijk was brilliant.
Considering he was.
ACL. That was the season when he came back, we became second.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was class, but I mean, compared to his very best, I was thinking
But his
he's
very
maybe
best
not
was like
great.
court level,
Yeah,
man.
but
His very
that was
best was
like
court level.
over the scale, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
that
do
was
think that's
court level.
significant for them, to be honest. That
Yeah.
people saying they've got cover, but they haven't got class cover like Rodri.
Yeah, no, I think we're done.
Gakpo, literally, like we have playing. Just loads of people buzzing off all of our signings.
Yeah.
It's had an ACL too as well. That's another good
Kane
point,
and
and
Son
he's
did it.
recovered really well.
Kane and Son, I think, did that 100.
Yeah,
I think they did anyway.
yeah.
Guys, that's it. We're calling
Rock
it a
and roll.
day. We're on a roll. We're on our way to 20K. If you haven't subscribed to the channels. Smash the like button if you haven't done already. I think we're on 275. At least get it up to 300, guys. I don't know if we're going tomorrow. I can definitely not go tomorrow. If something breaks, we'll have to wait and see. Asim might go, but we'll have to wait and see. But guys, enjoy your weekends. I'm sure Liverpool will hopefully win on Sunday. If I don't catch you, I will see you on. I'm probably not going to see you till probably Tuesday now. Asim's going to be doing quite a few of the shows. I'm sure you'll see the lads though. They'll be on a few over the next few days. But take care of yourselves. Have a good one, and I will catch you.
Just before you go, Cheen, one last quick super chat just sneaked in.
Oops.
You know what?
Newcastle will probably F that up as well.
Honestly, that's so funny that someone did actually make the suggestion of us buying Sesko and then loaning him to him, but that would be the piss take of all piss takes. That
somebody should give them to use for a week, mate.
Yeah, flipping heck. No
Yeah.
way. Good chat. Good super chat though.
Yeah, no, it was. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We will catch you soon. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.
Good night and God bless.